You've been walking for 4 hours, the sun is already high. Your shoulders burn from the weight of the pack. Somewhere between 40 and 60 pounds of equipment strapped to a wooden pole you carry over one shoulder. Your sandals are kicking up dust on a road that looks exactly the same as the one from yesterday and the day before that. You haven't stopped. You won't stop until the horn sounds in the early afternoon. And then you'll build a camp. You are a Roman legionary on the march. And before this day is over, you will have walked 20 Roman miles, roughly 18 modern miles, carrying half your body weight in equipment, in formation, in silence. Every single day. This is about why the Roman army marched the way it did, what it cost the men who did it, what it achieved, and why the discipline of the march was, in many ways, more important to Rome's military success than any weapon ever forged. Let's start with the number. 20 miles, every day. Roman military writers distinguish between 3 types of march. The iter iustum, the regular march, covered roughly 20 Roman miles in around 5 hours. This was the daily baseline, expected of every legionary in normal campaign conditions. The iter magnum pushed to about 24 miles, used when speed was critical. And then there was the forced march. No formal name, no fixed limit. Julius Caesar records instances of his legions covering 30 miles in a single day during critical moments of his campaigns. On one occasion, during the Civil War, he moved an army at a speed his enemies literally could not believe, arriving before they thought it possible. Speed was a weapon. The march was a weapon. Now let's talk about what a soldier actually carried, because understanding the weight changes everything. The Romans called the heavily laden marching legionary a mulus Marianus, a Marian mule. The nickname came from the general Gaius Marius, who in the late 2nd century BC reformed the army and increased the personal load each soldier was expected to carry. Before Marius, much equipment traveled on pack animals and wagons. After Marius, soldiers carried most of it themselves. The reasoning was strategic. Pack animals slowed an army down. They needed feeding and watering. They got stuck in mud. An army that carried its own supplies could move faster and with less vulnerability. The armor alone weighed between 15 and 20 pounds. The large curved shield added another 10 to 15. Helmet, javelins, sword, dagger, another 10 to 15. Then rations, cooking pot, canteen, cloak, bedroll, entrenching tools, and wooden stakes for the camp palisade. Total, 40 to 66 pounds. The weight of a large dog, on your back, for 5 hours, in summer heat. So, how did they actually do it? First, conditioning. Recruits didn't begin with full kit. The military writer Vegetius describes a progressive training system. Unloaded marches first, then gradually adding weight and distance over months. By the time a soldier was expected to perform the full 20-mile march with kit, his body had adapted. Second, pace. Roman soldiers marched to a regulated 4 miles per hour, not a sprint, but sustainable when consistent. The column moved as a single organism. No surging ahead, no falling back. The regulated pace was what made the distance achievable. Third, the road. Roman roads were engineered specifically for military movement. Straight, well-drained, stone-surfaced. The difference between marching on a Roman road and a muddy forest track is the difference between covering 20 miles in 5 hours and exhausting yourself covering 10. When legions moved into new territory, building roads was among the first things they did. Roads were infrastructure for power projection. But here's the part most people never think about. Why 20 miles specifically? The answer is what happened at the end of the march. Because every single day, regardless of terrain, weather, or exhaustion, the march ended with the construction of a fortified camp. The castra was not a simple arrangement of tents. Soldiers dug a trench, piled the earth into a rampart, planted wooden stakes to form a palisade. Inside, the camp was laid out in exactly the same configuration every time. Same street grid, same gate positions, same location for the commander's tent. Every soldier knew exactly where to go and exactly what to build. The Greek historian Polybius was so struck by this that he devoted significant sections of his history to describing it. Roman soldiers, he noted, were never vulnerable overnight. The moment the march ended, they began creating a defensible position. By nightfall, they slept behind walls. 20 miles was the maximum distance that allowed an army to march, arrive, and still have enough daylight and energy to build a camp before dark. The march and the camp were a single system. The distance was calibrated to the total daily workload, not just the walking, but everything that came after. There's one more layer that almost never gets discussed. The march wasn't just a physical activity, it was a psychological one. You suffer together. You carry the same weight, you walk the same roads, you build the same camp on the same schedule. The 8 men of your tent group, your contubernarium, are not just colleagues, they are the people you have suffered with, every day for months or years. Modern military research consistently shows that unit cohesion, mutual trust, and shared identity within a small group is one of the strongest predictors of combat effectiveness. Roman commanders had no access to that research, but they arrived at the same conclusion through centuries of experience. The march built the legion, and the legion built the empire. There is a line from Josephus, the historian who observed the Roman military during the Jewish-Roman Wars, that has been quoted for 2,000 years. He writes that their exercises are like bloodless battles, and their battles like bloody exercises. The Roman march was not preparation for combat, it was combat of a different kind. A daily confrontation with exhaustion, weight, and distance that demanded the same discipline and the same refusal to quit that actual fighting demanded. And so when the fighting came, Roman soldiers were ready, not because they were naturally tougher than other men, but because they had been made tougher systematically and deliberately, one 20-mile day at a time. If this changed how you see the Roman world, leave a comment. Tell me what surprised you most. The next video is right there. See you there.